Hi, it is Tuesday afternoon and I'm going to give you just a little bit of an update and a little bit of, I guess, background around where we're at right now with Timmy's cancer journey. I know some of you have been following it for a long time and some of you are new to this. So just to bring you up to speed, if you're kind of newly stepping into this and wanting to know a little bit more, my husband was diagnosed with multiple myeloma in June, and it was a very unexpected diagnosis. He had been suffering from chronic pain for a while, but he also had a sinus infection that wasn't going away after 2 rounds of antibiotic treatment. And the chronic pain we really had attributed to just some things he's dealt with his own body for a while. But more recently, we acquired a farm, bought a farm about 5 years ago, and the farm chores were, most of the labor was falling on Timmy, and he loved what he was doing, you know, so the pain was part of it, and he just felt like, I'm just going to keep doing physical therapy, I'm going to keep doing my exercises, I'm going to keep working on all of this stuff. And he saw chiropractors and acupuncturists and physical therapy and all kinds of things to try to keep his body in check, and ate really well, you know, did all like the right stuff on that front, was trying to, you know, replenish his body and eat the right meals, eat the right snacks to keep it going. And he was really fighting an uphill battle, and turns out that it was actually multiple myeloma that was causing the pain. You know, and I'm right now, the phase he's in, he's been going through chemotherapy treatment this summer, and the chemotherapy treatment wasn't working so well, and so he has a very rare form of multiple myeloma, and he was just in the hospital this week for a PACE treatment, which is a 4-day very intensive chemotherapy treatment. And he's in line for a CAR T-cell therapy, which is supposed to start later this fall. We kind of skipped through the trials, and those didn't work so well for him. So he's here for the big guns, and then hopefully the CAR T-cell therapy. What's happening for him right now is a huge hiccup. He suffers a lot when he has too much fluid taken off during dialysis, but he was swelling a lot. He had a lot of edema last week in his body from, I think, the cancer treatment and all the bags of fluid coming into his body. So in agreement with his, you know, he was working with his nephrology team and with the dialysis crew here, and he agreed to having the fuller amount of liquid taken off because of the swelling that was accumulating in his body. And later that night, it just triggered some really violent attacks, vomiting, and the pressure, the abdominal pressure is what forced, we think that's what forced the E. coli, which naturally is in the gut and in the intestines, out into his bloodstream, and that is what contributed to a septic condition in his body. And essentially his bowels were in a state of shock. They call it shock bowel is what it's called. It's kind of like a heart attack to the bowels. So the reason for the intubation is because he was breathing so hard from the infection that was brewing in his body, and his temperature was climbing, and they just needed to take the breathing off the table and let his body rest. He was, you know, breathing with his mouth open, which is a distressed form of breathing, and eventually you kind of take in more oxygen than you are releasing carbon dioxide, and that creates toxicity in your body of a whole another kind. So yeah, it's been like a crazy last several days, you know, from Friday actually morning until now. He moved to the ICU on Friday had the tube put in Friday night. It was very, very touch and go Friday night. And then throughout the weekend, he's been slowly coming back around. The tube was taken out yesterday. He's still having all kinds of tests because we're just trying to figure out like what exactly is going on, what's still brewing in his body, what systems might have been impacted from the many bags that were hanging to give him treatment to keep his body alive. So, this is all just like, I've just been thinking a lot about systems and systems breakdown. And when one system in our body collapses, like it's just, for him, it started with the multiple myeloma, which is a bone plasma cancer. And that impacted the kidneys, and the kidneys like filter everything. And so if the kidneys don't function, all kinds of shit builds up in the body. And our bodily systems are made to function together. They function beautifully in this perfect way. And if we're healthy and well, like we just don't even have to think about it. We know we should put the right foods in our body, but if we don't, our bodies are pretty forgiving. We know we need a certain amount of activity, and if we don't get that, like we feel an ache or a pain, but we go on and then we change our patterns a little bit to allow for more of that. But when a system crashes, like really goes down, then it's an uphill battle. And then it's no longer something that just sort of like pokes at us back here, but like it requires our full massive attention. And so that's what happened in June. And we've been in this crisis mode with Timmy's body since June. And, in a way, like his systems weren't functioning so well prior to that. We just didn't know it. And so it was impacting our family system because, when you don't feel well, you don't show up as your best, like the best version of you possible. Because so basically, I just have such an appreciation for like the perfection of how our bodies work, how this like ecosystem functions beautifully, how we function as part of a larger ecosystem beautifully, how everything really conspires for us to live and live well and thrive. And and then when something breaks down, like the whole balance just goes. And, it's like you start intervening and the balance just keeps going and going and going. And I don't know what caused this whole system disruption in Timmy. He said it's a genetic mutation that causes something like multiple myeloma. It's a very rare genetic mutation that causes his version of it. 96 people on the planet in a year are diagnosed with this version. Why the mutation happens, right up there at the top of the list of a handful of things are exposure to chemicals. Woodworking chemicals are one that are cited. Chemicals related to, weed killers, those kinds of things. He used to work on a golf course and was exposed to lots of toxins, and, there's toxins all over the place. They're in our air. They're in everything. 1 in 2 people will get cancer, will be personally affected by cancer at some course during the course of a normal adult lifespan. 1 in 2. I haven't fact checked that statistic, but I read it from a pretty good source, and I was just like, 1 in 2. Look around you, like that's you or the person that you're looking at. So, I don't know. I mean, this is just like the amount of treatment that he's going through right now just to live, to try to beat this, like, it's heroic. And it's heroic on so many fronts. It's heroic for a body to like persevere through that. It's heroic for someone to want to live in the midst of like all of that treatment. You know, it's heroic that this whole medical team has come together in the way that they have. Like, it's heroic what's happening at his bedside. And is it, you know, like, there's part of me that's like the part of me, and I know the part of Timmy that's like used alternative therapies in the past and has like really tried to be minimal in like how we make use of the medical system. Man, I mean, we're using it, like all of it, and we jumped right in. It was just like, yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, I'll do that. Like, it was emergency. Like, you know, almost like we didn't have time to think through like the domino effect and what would cause what. It was just like, I want to live. I want to live. I want to be there for my girls. I want to be there for the farm. I want to be there for you. Like, I'm in it to win it. Like, I am. And, people do come through the other side of this hellacious experience, and they live, and they come out differently. They come out transformed. You know, I don't know what's the right thing to do. But I feel like showing up at his side, supporting him is the right thing to do. Being present as much as I can is the right thing to do. Like, asking the questions when I'm not clear on something is the right thing to do. Challenging things when I don't quite understand and I'm not sure something makes sense to me, or I feel like something else needs to be pursued. Like, that's the right thing to do. And I just feel like I'm kind of spanning out on a larger scale too. Like, you know, I think there's a lot of things to be questioned about, like how we are occupying time and space on our planet right now, and like what's the right thing to do. You know, there's domino effects to everything, and none of us can see far out into the future to know like what's going to impact what and how it's going to go. I know in the climate arena, you know, there's like the whole like greenwashing and like, is it really sustainable? Is it really, are we just like doing this thing to like say it's the right thing to do because it looks right, but it has its consequences of its own. Like, I guess I'm just going to stay present to like awareness. Like, my awareness of like systems impact is expanding by the second through this experience. And I don't really know what I know. I just know like keeping my eyes open feels right. Learning as much as I absolutely can feels right. Showing up and being present and listening feels right. And just like being transparent about like, you know, whatever aspect of it I can, so that maybe it'll help somebody. I don't know, you know, maybe it'll help somebody else navigate like these kinds of hard times. If 1 in 2 people are going to have cancer at some point in their life or be personally very impacted by it, then we got to like help each other know how to navigate this shit, because there's so many questions that come up through the process. A whole lot of hand-holding that needs to happen. And I know for me, for my circle, like, this disease has brought us closer to each other and to people around us. It's forced us to reach out for help in ways we didn't before. And so that's transformative, you know? So why this disease is expanding in its reach, I don't have the answers for that, but I can say that there's another side of it that's beautiful in the midst of the hard. It's beautiful to see the way people can come together in support of a life. It's beautiful the way a community can come together to support a family. And that gives me hope. So that's my reflection for today. As I leave the hospital and head home to see my girls and my sister KT, who's here helping us for the week. So thank you for being present to our journey, and blessings to you, and blessings in the midst of all that you have going on in your life. Peace. Bye. So very quick update. I saw Timmy this morning. He's doing much better than he was even yesterday. I actually did like classic OT with my husband, which is so fun. We brushed his teeth, we scrubbed his mouth, I flossed his teeth. Yeah, he rinsed and spit into the basin, and he was so happy because his mouth just felt like crap. So yeah, never knew those skills would come in handy on my husband, but pretty fun to be the one to be a part of that first little morning ritual. And he's doing great, much better, like on so many fronts. I'll give more of an update later. I'm heading into work. I just wanted to share that bit to close out this video, and hopefully I'll get it posted. All right, thank you. Peace. Thanks for following.